chapter 11 and verse 3.
Bring it out.
But I would have you know that the head of every man is Christ, and the head of the woman is the man.
So what we're reading right now, what we're reading right now is the order. Is the divine order. Oh, the sis got a problem with this. What? Wait a minute. Wait a minute. What's wrong with that, sis? What's wrong with that? Read it again. Read it again.
But I would have you know that the head of every man is Christ, and the head of the woman is the man.
So our head is Christ. Now, sis, check this out. Nowadays, I'm pretty sure the reason why you're looking like that, because nowadays, you don't want one of these wicked Negroes over you. You thinking, I'm going to go to work, he going to sit at the house, he going to play the game, he going to cheat on me, he going to do this, he going to do that. Not if his head is Christ. Because Christ has certain rules and regulations how a man should act.
That's right.
These men nowadays are not men, they're boys.
Right.
Because a boy will sit at home all day while his wife goes out to work.
Right.
A boy will sit there and get his sister pregnant and not raise his own child. That's a boy.
That's right.
Read.
But I would have you know that the head of every man is Christ, and the head of the woman is the man, and the head of Christ is God.
So even Christ has a head. Christ's head is God,
That's
the
right.
Most High God.
Right.
Read.
Every man praying or prophesying, having his head covered, dishonoreth his head.
You said your name is Keith, right? Keith, what that mean? Read that last part again.
Every man praying or prophesying, having his head covered, dishonoreth his head.
What that mean?
I can't hear you. Huh? I can't. That's what I can't hear you.
Yeah, part of that. Because it says, read it again.
Every man praying or prophesying, having his head covered,
His physical head, read.
dishonoreth his head.
Dishonoreth his head. Who's the head of man? Because remember the order we just read. It was God, Christ, man, woman. Who's the head of man? Who? Christ. So when we're reading this Bible, when we're talking about the Bible, when we're prophesying, when you're praying, you should always take your hat off. Why? As a sign of respect to Christ.
That's right.
The reason why I said they do that in some churches is because the men, as soon as they walk into church, they take their hat off and they don't even know why. Keep reading. I'm going to show you something else. I'm going to show you something too, sis. Read.
But every woman that prayeth or prophesieth with her head uncovered, dishonoreth her head.
So sis, right now your head is covered. According to the Bible, you're supposed to have your head covered. Because if your head is uncovered, you dishonor the man. You see the order in that? Just like in some of these churches, you have some of these older women, they got these big, huge, these big, huge hats, and they don't even know why they're wearing them. That's what I'm saying. A lot of our people have the zeal to follow God, they just don't know how to do it.
Right.
That's why the prophets have come back on the earth to show our people how to keep God's commandments.
That's right.
So brother, with that being read, what are you going to do? All praises. All praises. And that's what I mean, is that our people, they want to follow God, they just don't know how to. So let me show you something else. Give me that Leviticus.
I'm curious of this. Why did you kind of turn your nose up when the brother read 1 Corinthians 11:3 as far as the order?
He said about the man must be over the woman. Because what he just said about the boys, nowadays it says boys, there ain't no men out here in this world to take over. And I don't feel comfortable with a man trying to take over. I feel like he over you.
If he don't got his mind right.
Exactly.
But if he's a righteous man, you ain't got it.
I wouldn't
You want?
wear that.
Okay, all prayer. I just want to make sure that was clear because you turned your nose up, but you don't want no boy ruling over you. Okay, understood. Titus 1, real quick. Titus chapter 1 point. Titus chapter 1 in verse 5. I want to show you what we're doing and the reason why the Lord put order within the nation of Israel when it comes to the family structure, all right? Come on.
The book of Titus, chapter 1 and verse 5. For this cause left I thee in Crete,
So we left Crete, which is an island on the other side of the world, come on,
that thou shouldest set in order
that he would set in order. So Paul, the Apostle Paul, he sent Titus in Crete, and he put him over that land. And he said he was to set in order, come on.
The things that are wanting.
The word wanting means that are lacking. Let's see what was lacking.
And ordained elders in every city, as I had appointed thee.
Elders meaning leaders, come on.
If any be blameless, the husband of one wife.
So when he came to setting things in order, what was the first thing that he mentioned? The elders, and then what? So he said set up leaders, and then what did he say? What did he mention? Yeah, read that part again.
If any be blameless, the husband of one wife.
So what's the first thing that he starts to set in order in Crete amongst the Israelites? The leaders, and then what? And then the husband, or meaning the family structure. Because what's lacking in the Black and Hispanic community today? What are some things that we're missing in the Black and Hispanic community? I want to hear from you first. Men. What else? Leadership. Well, let's deal with the men. There's plenty of men in the Black and Hispanic community.
Right.
They would consider T.D. Jakes a leader. Huh? A leader of what? Okay. So what do you got? What you got? What's lacking in the Black and Hispanic community? We got men. We got leaders. What you got? They don't pray enough. It's a church on every other corner. Not even every other, on every corner in the hood.
That's right.
You go to any MLK street and they got a church, right? So what's really missing? I want a couple of things. 1 Kings chapter 2. Because you said men, and you 100% right. There are men in the Black and Hispanic community. There are so-called leaders. Males. They're so-called leaders. They would be your church leaders, church pastors or whatever. T.D. Jakes, they would consider a leader. Jesse Jackson, they would consider a leader.
Gang.
But let's see what these men or these males are lacking. 1 Kings 2.
1 Kings chapter 2 and verse 2. I go the way of all the earth.
Meaning he was getting ready to die, King David, come on.
Be thou strong, therefore, and show thyself a man.
He said, be strong and show yourself a man. Let's see what it means to be a man of God. Come on.
And keep the charge of the Lord thy God, to walk in his ways, to keep his statutes and his commandments.
To keep his statutes and his commandments. So what does it mean to be a man? What does it really be to be a real man according to the Bible? To walk by the book, to keep the commandments. Look at the Christian church today. How many of them grown men are wearing the tightest pants you could ever put on the face of the earth? Look at Kirk Franklin. Effeminate. The Lord said your men are not to be effeminate. If we're really going by the book, watch this, 1 Corinthians 6. If they were really going by the book in the Christian church, if they were really men of God, they would not be dressing like that. They wouldn't have on the friggin' skinny jeans, shirt skirts. 1 Corinthians 6 and 9.
The book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 6 and verse 9.
Go.
Know ye not that the unrighteous shall not inherit the kingdom of God?
So the unrighteous are those that are not keeping God's commandments. They will not inherit the kingdom of heaven. Come on.
Be not deceived.
Don't be deceived.
Neither fornicators.
You know why it says don't be deceived? Because everything we're getting ready to read, one, it happens in the Christian church.
Right.
Two, they tell you, oh, the law's done away with. You can do whatever you want and make it.
Right.
You're being deceived. God said this.
Neither fornicators.
Neither fornicators, boyfriends, girlfriends, jump-offs, baby mamas, baby daddies. That's the product of fornication. AIDS, syphilis, adultery, falls under the banner of fornication. Correct, come on.
Nor idolaters.
Nor idolaters. This is idolatry. Having other gods, right, worshiping other gods. Come on.
Nor adulterers. Nor effeminate. Nor effeminate.
Nor effeminate.
That's what men be dressed like women.
Yes. When you go in the Christian church and they got them button downs and they got the floral arrangements on them. They got flowers all over the shirt. Rompers. Grown men are wearing this. In the Christian church, they doing this.
Pastors is raping kids.
You got pastors that are getting charges for sexual assault.
They're not even getting charged with it. I know a rapist right now that's in the church house right now.
Believe me when I tell you, they're gonna get their judgment. They're gonna get their judgment. Yeah, I know so. I don't think so, I know so. Because it's written in the book.
That's right.
So the Lord said, real men are not effeminate. Real men do not talk like this. Hey, how you doing, brother? You doing good? All right. Hey, amen. Amen, brother. Real men don't talk like that. That's why, like, even for your Keith, right? Brother Keith, when you speak, you have to speak with authority. You got to raise your voice.
Right.
So when a brother asks you a question, even though I don't got the mic, I should still be able to hear you.
Right.
I can still discourse. I don't need no mic. All right? So you as a man, as a black man, we've been broken here in America. Stop. We've been broken here in America. So now we're coming back in our rightful place as men of God. Why? Because we found our nationality.
That's right.
We got the Spirit of God on us. So we speak with authority. We speak as men. We deal as men. We're not whoring our sisters out. We're not going from woman to woman to woman. We're not getting a sister pregnant and then leaving her. We're not doing none of that stuff. Even with your hair, bro, you got to get your hair back black.
That's right.
That's that stuff. Who's that football player? Odell Beckham. That's the crap they be doing.
I love Odell. What's
He feminine, man. He getting caught in jacuzzi tubs with other men.
Right.
What is that?
He's a great football.
But guess what? Those are our leaders. Those are the men that we look up to. In the black and Hispanic community, that's what we look up to. Give me that, Hosea.
But that's not cool.
Watch this. Hosea chapter 3, verse 4. I'm going to show you something. And then I'm going to show, even for yourself, you was mentioning earlier about the dresses. This is the reason why in your mind you think, okay, in order for me to be a woman, I got to have on the biggest, heaviest dress I can put on in the world. No, that's not the case. Watch this.
Hosea chapter 3 and verse 4. Yeah. For the children of Israel.
For the children of Israel, the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans.
Right. Shall abide many days.
We would abide, meaning we would go many days, hundreds of years without something. Without what?
Without a sacrifice. Without a prince. And
without a prince, without a leader.
And without a sacrifice. And without an image.
And without a what?
And without an image.
Without an image of a real man.
Right. That's right.
A real leader. Right. A real husband. A real father. You may have some sprinkled here and there, but the vast majority, 95.99% of the nation of Israel, the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, we don't have an image of a real woman. The only image we got is, who's that? Who's the sister? Beyonce, Cardi B. Those are the images we got of a real woman. Whoever got the biggest butt and the biggest breast, and whoever can show off the most. That's the image we have of a woman. Odell Beckham is the image of a man. Kirk Franklin, with the tightest pants on he could find, and dresses and shirt skirts, that's what we have of a man. Those are not men of God. We've gone hundreds of years without a real image. So for yourself, sister, you don't have to have on the biggest, heaviest dress you can find. You can go to Ross, TJ Maxx, you can go wherever you need, thrift store, whatever, and buy you a nice, modest dress, because you asked the question earlier as far as what was wrong with wearing pants. Hold it, 1 Corinthians 2. 1 Timothy 2, I'm going to show you something. And I want you to read this. Let's read 1 Timothy 2, and then also I want you to read this. I want you to read I want you to read a couple of the definitions of modest, and then I want you to look at the bottom and you can see antonyms, and I want you to read some of those. Read this.
1 Timothy chapter 2 and verse 9.
This is for the women.
In like manner also that the women adorn themselves in modest apparel.
In modest apparel. Modest. Watch this.
The definition of modest: respectable, appreciate, appropriate, approved, becoming, befitting, chaste, clean, comely, comforting, good, honest, honorable, respectable, clean. Right, when she's wearing a dress, where it's not showing all her stuff, where it's not the tightest dress she can find, and it's showing the curve of her butt. Now watch this. Now let's see the opposite of modest. Inappropriate, indecent, poor, unrespectable, unsuitable, unsuited. You see that? So that's the problem when sisters are wearing leggings. Those are undergarments. Those are pants. You shouldn't even have those on.
So y'all look at me different because I got my pants.
You don't know. In your ignorance, there was a lot of stuff that we didn't know.
Right.
We didn't know about keeping the Sabbath day.
Right.
We didn't know nothing about celebrating Passover.
Right.
We didn't know about eating, not eating pork,
right,
shrimp, crab, lobster. We didn't know that stuff.
Right.
You can't eat crab and lobster?
Correct. When you read Leviticus, the 11th chapter, those are exactly, those are bottom feeders. And we wonder why we dropping dead of heart attacks, heart disease, stroke, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and everything else.
You know what?
Those are unclean. Stop. Let's go back. Timothy's 2.
1 Timothy chapter 2 and verse 9. In like manner also that the women adorn themselves in modest apparel.
That the women adorn themselves, meaning put on, dress like, with modest apparel. Apparel that's appropriate. Apparel that's respectable, honorable. Think about it. Look at the women over there in the Middle East. Where they wear the big, the dresses or whatever, and it's all black. I'm not saying we're all black. We don't know. But I'm saying, you think about it. They cover their face and everything else. They don't really have to deal with the level of disrespect and dishonor here in America, because when you put a dress on, it puts a very feminine spirit on you. It puts the spirit of a woman. Because think about it, you heard the saying, I wear the pants in a relationship? What does that mean? I wear the pants. You the man. When a woman puts on pants, what is she saying? She the man. She the boss. But that's going against what scripture? 1 Corinthians 11. Remember when it said that the order, God, Christ, man, woman? That's going against that. So it's spiritual with us keeping God's commandments, because it innately or naturally starts to set us back in order. So when you start to change how you dress, it says, you know what? I'm taking these pants off and putting a dress on because I know I'm not the head of the house.
Right.
The person that wears the pants, he's the head of the house.
Right.
Right? So you naturally take a back seat, so to speak, and you start to course correct, and you start to get set in order, right? Likewise with the men, once they start being effeminate, they won't allow their woman to run the household.
Right.
They won't allow that. My wife, I got a wife and 2 kids, 2 daughters. My wife don't run my house. She takes care of the children. She takes care of the house to make sure that things are set in order in the house. So she has a job. It's not like she's sitting at the house staring at the wall. I got a 5-year-old and a 7-month-old that she has to be able to take care of. That she has to, that she has to teach when you read Titus the 2nd chapter.
Yes.
And so for yourself, that's the level of understanding that I want you to come to. But these laws are spiritual. These are more than just do's and don'ts. I'm not saying lower your standards. I'm not talking about your standards.
I'm talking about standards. I'm saying myself.
What do you mean lower yourself?
You said you run your fast clothes and everything
right.
like that, right? Your wife got to clean up the house and she got to do this.
Right. No, that's not lowering herself. That's setting things in order.
Right.
Because when you read Titus, it's written. Titus 2.
It's wrong. Right?
Huh?
Married, right?
What do you mean when you're married? Well, what are you doing when you're single? Being yourself? What do you mean being yourself? What does that mean?
I'm not with nobody, so I don't have to.
That's fine.
Myself to right?
Yeah, you still have men. Once you come in, you start to congregate. You still have men or leaders set over you. biblical times, that's not a tradition of ours for women to just do whatever they want. Daughters, they were in the house until they married, until the fathers married them off. It wasn't a thing of, okay, sister, you grown, now you go off and do whatever you want, and that independent woman thing. That's the thought that you have, is that independent woman, hear me roar spirit. That's what that's the spirit Beyonce put on our women. I understand it. But again, in your repentance, as you start to learn and start to apply God's commandments, you'll realize, you know what? My strength is going to be in applying God's commandments. Me understanding that the order is the men are over the women. We don't disrespect. We're not sitting up cussing sisters out. Of course not. We respect and honor and love our sisters. I understand that, but are they keeping God's commandments? No. Understood. Right. You're right. But again, you got to look at the women. Are the women applying what we read in 1 Timothy 2 as far as dressing in modest apparel? Because it's spiritual. Because when a woman says, I got the pants and I'm saying, listen, as a woman is wearing pants, she's saying what? I'm running stuff. So natural. No, I understand, but I'm saying. That's your friend. In the unnatural. No, I understand. I hear you, but I'm trying to make sure we're on the same page. I hear what you're saying. In the world, here in America, as we were brought up here for the last 400 years, that's what we were taught. We were created here in America, so to speak. So naturally for us, because we've been brought up one way, sisters wear pants, the men can do what you want, because we were never governed by the Bible, we were never governed by our God, we were governed by another nation. Esau, the so-called white man, so that's what we were taught. So now that the prophets are here on the earth in the last days, what are we doing? We're doing what we just read in Titus chapter 1. We're setting in order the things that are lacking. The things that are lacking are what you just said. Real men, real women. They don't know how to dress. Women don't know how to talk to a man. Men don't know how to run their household. The only thing we know is Jerry Springer, Maury Povich, paternity tests, divorce court. That's all we know. So that's what we do. But guess what? When you know better, what you got to do? You got to do better. I understand that. I understand. Repentance is a process. But at the same time, guess what? You got to start somewhere.
Shalom. This is Bishop Nathaniel of Israel United in Christ. Please subscribe to our YouTube channels. Stay up to date with our latest events, music, and classroom lessons. IUIC plans to continue visiting different countries where this gospel has not been preached before. IUIC needs your help in pushing this truth. So join us. Subscribe to our Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and podcasts, and stay up to date with us. For more information, please visit www.IsraelUnite.org.